Greetings towards my Central Unit Galaxy Kingdom. It's the Central Man here, so back again with another classic WWE pay-per-view review. So SummerSlam season has arrived. For the next few weeks, I'll be reviewing some classic SummerSlam shows. So today I'm reviewing SummerSlam 1989 at the Meadowlands Arena. Right now it's called the Izard Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey on the 28th of August 1989. The attendance for the show was 20,000. This show received about 400,000 pay-per-view buys, an upgrade than the first SummerSlam event from 1988, the previous year. That show received about 350,000 pay-per-view buys, about 5% by 5 more. The main event of that show was the Mega Bucks versus the Mega Powers. After the success of SummerSlam 88, they decided to do the show again, make it into a traditional summer event, one of the second biggest event for the WWE, and they've been doing it for the next 33 years, going on 34 years. Anyway, the commentators for the show are Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jesse the Body Ventura. And when I see Tony Schiavone on WWF/WWE television, I never knew he was in the WWE. Tony Schiavone is more associated with the NWA/WCW, but seeing him in WWF/WWE television for the first time, I was shocking. I thought he was just a loyal NWA/WCW guy, but I was wrong. He jumped ship to the NWA. He jumped ship to the WWF. He spent most of the time in the NWA. He ended up returning to the NWA at Capital Combat. That was the following year in 1990, but yeah, he didn't pan out in the WWF. He's there for a cup of coffee, and then he's back in the NWA. He'll stay in that company for the end of that company's existence, and then he had a cup of coffee in TNA, and then right now he's in AEW. Anyway, so it's more focused on the movie No Holds Barred. We'll get to the main event later on in this review. So anyway, the first match to kick off SummerSlam 1989, we got a tag team match. We got the Hart Foundation, that is Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart, taking on the Brainbusters with Bobby the Brain Heenan in their corner. The Brainbusters are Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, former members of the Four Horsemen. And the Brainbusters are the tag team champions. They won the belts in July. The match was good, and this is the match of the night. I'll get to my final thoughts in the end, but this was match of the night. It was back and forth between the both tag teams. In the end, the Brainbusters got the victory. I think Bret or Neidhart is about to pin Tully Blanchard, but Arn Anderson cheat shot one member of the Hart Foundation. I think it was Bret or Neidhart. Anderson pinned one of the members of the Hart Foundation to win this match. It's just a singles tag team. Yeah, not a singles tag team match. It's a non-tag. It's a shame the tag team titles were not on the line. That would be a good tag team title match. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But and by the way, the Brainbusters been around since 1988. They debuted at Survivor Series of '88. They've been there for a year. Unfortunately, they left later on in the year. They end up dropping the tag team titles to Demolition. That was in October. Then in November, they left the company. Arn Anderson go back to WCW, NWA/WCW. I don't know what happened to Tully Blanchard. It's funny that Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson right now are in AEW. It's funny that they're in AEW, right now compared to 30 years ago they're in the WWF. But yeah, it's a shame that we never got the Four Horsemen in WWE. It's a shame because I think that at this moment of time, J.J. Dillon is also jumped ship from NWA to WWF. He was behind the scenes. He wasn't an on-screen character. It's a shame. And then 2 years later, Ric Flair also going to WWF from WCW. It's a shame. We never got the Four Horsemen. And also Barry Windham also going to the WWF years later. It's a shame. I feel like it could really be good to see the Four Horsemen in WWE. That'd be good. Great example. If they did survive, instead of Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker at SummerSlam, not SummerSlam, Survivor Series 91, you could do a a Survivor Series match. Hogan and his team versus the Four Horsemen. They could do good business. I don't know how much pay-per-view buy rates for that show if they did this match. That could be a dream match. Unfortunately, it never panned out. Yeah, Hogan fought the Horsemen years later in WCW, but that'll be a different Horseman with Benoit and Malenko and Mongo, I think. But not with, with Blanchard, Anderson, Ric Flair. Maybe they could bring not Barry Windham, but bring another person to be part of the Horsemen, like Paul Roma. He wants to also be in WWF, I think in WWF as well. But it never panned out. It's just what might have been. Anyway, less of my rambling. Let's move on to the next match. The next match we got the Honky Tonk Man taking on the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Another NWA guy / WCW guy. He didn't really won a major title in WWF. I think he was a $1 million champion, but never won a major title. He's not going to win the world title. He was the world champion in NWA, but not in the WWF. He's never won a singles title in his run in the WWF. It's funny that his sons, Cody and Goldust, they become, Intercontinental champion and also tag team champion. Instead of, his father never won a major title in his run in the company. It's a shame. Anyway, and the fun fact that, the previous SummerSlam, Honky Tonk Man got squashed by the Warrior. It's funny that he ended up losing. That's a bit of a spoiler alert. So, anyway, the match between Honky Tonk Man and Dusty Rhodes, it was an okay match for what it is. Dusty kicked out of the tent. You had Honky hit, Dusty with the megaphone. By the way, Jimmy Hart was Honky Tonk Man's manager at the time. Honky hit Dusty with megaphone. Dusty kicked out, and then in the end, the miscommunication attempt, you had Jimmy Hart hit Honky Tonk Man by mistake with the guitar instead of Dusty. Dusty got out of the way at the last minute. Pins Honky Tonk Man for the victories. Poor Honky. In the first two SummerSlams, he lost. He got squashed by the Warrior at SummerSlam 88. And then fast forward 1 year later, he lost to Dusty Rhodes. It's a shame. But let's move on to the next match. The next match, we got Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, taking on the Red Rooster, Terry Taylor. Holy crap. I'm guessing this was Mr. Perfect's first pay-per-view appearance for the WWF. I checked out Wikipedia that his debut was Survivor Series of '89. That's not true. He showed up, he wrestled on this show. I don't know, it's Survivor Series. Oh, wait, it wasn't Survivor Series, it's SummerSlam. He's on this undefeated streak for the Federation. Terry Taylor, man, Red Rooster. Let's talk about him. One of the worst gimmicks in pro wrestling history. And it really, people say the Red Rooster gimmick for Terry Taylor kind of killed his career completely dead. I kind of disagree. I'll get to that a little bit shortly. The match was just shit. It wasn't a bad match, but it was filler. But first off, Terry Taylor, he dyed a bit of his head red, gelled his head and dyed it red like the head of the rooster, and do the head bobby thing with, same as the rooster. How you get behind this character, this wrestler, doing the same movement as a rooster? It's just come on now. You got Perfect doing the head bobby thing. It's just come on now. That's completely stupid. But anyway, Perfect hits Terry Taylor with the Perfect Plex to score the victory. He ended up leaving the company. I think he left the company later on in the year. He ended up going back to the NWA/WCW. He had a career resurgence in his second run with the company in WCW. He ended up, forming the York Foundation with Alexander York, future Terry Reynolds. You had Tommy Rich and Ricky Morton. That's another story for another time. But he had a career resurgence in that run in WCW more than in WWF. He's there for the cup of coffee. He came back years later, part of backstage. He had one or two appearances in television, but as a pro wrestler, he just never got over. It's just a stupid gimmick. Who come up with this whole idea? Let's make this guy act like an animal. It's just, come on now. Anyway, so that's match number 3. Match number 4, we got a 6-man tag team match. We got the Rockers, that is Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, with Tito Santana taking on the Rushos, that is Jacques and Raymond Rougeau, and Rick. Not the model, he's not the model yet, but he's on his way becoming the model. It's basically Rick Martel, I'm trying to say, with Jimmy Hart in the corner. Jimmy Hart, he had a lot of clients back in the day. It's a shame you don't have managers right now compared to 20, 30 years ago. There's a lot of managers, end up with different clients, end up changing attires. Jimmy Hart changed a lot of attires, in this match, in the 6-man tag team match, he changed his suits. He's wearing the Quebec coat of arms on his jackets, the Rougeau's colors. I think it was yellow and blue. Anyway, this is a continued rivalry between Rick Martel and Tito Santana. They were in a tag team called the Strike Force. It's called. They broke up at WrestleMania 5, and then Rick will become the model. It's a shame, he was a TV champion in WCW, but in the WWF, I don't think he won a major title in the WWF. I don't know. I don't think he did. It's a shame. He could be like a good, decent IC champion. I don't say world champion because not all people can be the top guy. I'm just saying, you never got that major respect in. He's got respect in different wrestling promotions, but in WWF and WCW, actually WCW got some respect. Yeah, he got injured, but in WWF he never got that major respect. He could be like a good upper mid-card villain. That's just me. Anyway, the match was decent. Kind of dragged a little bit. In the end, you got the heels ganging up on Marty Jannetty. Then the bulk of the match basically ganging up on Tito Santana. One of the Rougeau brothers kind of locked in I think it was a Boston leg crab. I call it the Quebecer leg crab because they're from Quebec in Canada. In the end, Marty is about to pin I think it was Jacques Raymond, one of the Rougeau brothers, but instead Martel decks Marty, pins Marty for the victory, and really shocking it is, 2 heels won a tag team match on the show. You got the Brainbusters defeat the Hart Foundation, Rick Martel's team defeat Tito Santana's team. They had a fight later on. I think they fight later on in the year throughout '89 until 1990. I think they fought at WrestleMania 6. I covered WrestleMania 6 last year on the channel. Go and check it out. But and also Tito Santana become El Matador. That'll be later on in the early parts of 1990s. That's expired the Primo and Epico becoming the Luchadors in later years in WWE. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so yeah, it was a decent match. Kind of dragged. I wish they cut off 3 to 5 minutes out of this time of this match. But yeah, it was I think this is like a third place. It takes the bronze medal. Match of the night has to be the tag team title match. Not tag team title match, but the tag team match from the opener. Anyway, that was match number 4. Match number 5. We got the only title match on the show. We got the Ultimate Warrior. Rick Rude defend the IC Championship against the Ultimate Warrior. This is the second match of their feud. You got Bobby the Brain Heenan in Rick Rude's corner. The rivalry between Rick Rude and Ultimate Warrior began at the Royal Rumble. They did this bodybuilding pose contest that ended in disqualification. Basically had Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude cheap shot the Ultimate Warrior. Rude hit Warrior and choking him out with the Lex Flexor. They had the first match at WrestleMania 5. Rick Rude defeated the Warrior. I think it's Warrior's first defeat in the World Wrestling Federation since he debuted. After Bobby Heenan helped Rick Rude defeat the Warrior at Mania 5, helped him win the IC title. So yeah, this is the rematch of their feud. This is the blow-off to their feud, and also this is the start of the rivalry between Rick Rude and Roddy Piper. On a go-home show to Prime TV, you had Roddy Piper and Rick Rude they had water words. Rude went personal, talked shit to Roddy Piper's family. They kind of collide. They didn't like punch in, come to blows with each other. They basically, brawling and art shouting. They end up fighting later on in the year. Anyway, the match between Rude and Ultimate Warrior. I think this was the second. This is the second best match of the night. It takes the silver medal because, like I said, the match of the night has to be the opener. Hot Foundation versus Brainbuster match. The match was good. There's one logic mishap. In one moment of the match, he basically had Warrior hit Rude in the back with the IC towel belts, and then Ventura complained, and he comparing like Warrior hitting Rick Rude in the back with the towel belt. It's like he said to Schiavone, if you shoot someone outside the ring, that would be okay. But I understand. I kind of agree. What Jesse Ventura says. That should be a disqualification because Warrior is a dumbass. He hits Rude in the back with the belt. It's not a no DQ match. It's just kind of like, what the hell's going on? Anyway, let's continue this match. The match overall was good. Good chemistry between two former bodybuilders because there were bodybuilders. Rick Rude was a former bodybuilder before becoming a pro wrestler. Same as the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig, and also Sting was also a bodybuilder. There's a lot of pro wrestlers, men and female, going in the world of bodybuilding before they step into the square circle. Anyway, match was good. One more of the match you had, Warrior broke out because Rude was going for the Rude Awakening. Warrior palled out. Mostly, basically Rude locking Warrior with the sleeper hold. There was a referee bump. Rude hits Warrior with it's not really a tombstone power driver. He kind of dropped Warrior on his head. It wasn't, I don't really call it a botch. It's kind of like some kind of reverse power driver. That was scary. I think Warrior also hit Rude with his version of a tombstone power driver. Not a tombstone power driver, but a normal, regular power driver. A lot of kick out. In the end, Roddy Piper, came out of nowhere. Rude did his tunt, swinging his hips round and round. And, that's Rude. If you watch a Rick Rude match, he always does his tunts, swinging his hips side to side. And then Piper basically showed, Rude his ass. He's wearing a kilt. He didn't really show his ass cheeks, but he basically showed Rude his ass. Warrior suplex Rude off the top rope, hit the Warrior splash to win this match and become a two-time Intercontinental Champion. Because at the first SummerSlam, he squashed Honky Tonk Man in second to win his first major title in the WWF, and then Rude I think he was the first person to beat the Ultimate Warrior. I think he lost twice, Ultimate Warrior, because Rude he's the first guy to beat the Warrior, and then the second person was Sergeant Slaughter at the Royal Rumble of 1991 for the World Heavyweight Championship. It ends the rivalry between Rude and Warrior and begins the rivalry between Piper and Rude. The fight again at SummerSlam 1990, a year later. Jesus, that's another story, another classic WWE pay-per-view for review for another time. So, anyway, a good match. Bit boring, but they told a good story in the ring between Rude and Warrior. Piper coming out, helping Warrior win. It's just what it is. Just like one rivalry ends, another one started. So that was match number 5. Match number 6, we've got another 6-man tag team match. We've got Demolition and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, or Kim Duggan, versus Twin Towers. That is the African Dream Akeem, Big Boss Man, and Andre the Giant with Slick as their manager. Kim Duggan. At this moment of time, the King of the Ring title is on the line. Not on the line on this show, but if you beat a person who wins King of the Ring, you officially become the new king. I think WWE did it recently with Shinsuke Nakamura, Baron Corbin. I might be wrong about this, don't quote me on that. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. The match was just wasn't a terrible match. It was just filler, nothing special. I feel like the Dusty Rhodes, Honky Tonk Man, and this match is basically added to the last minute. That's just me. It's just I'm not starting this on conspiracy theories. Just basically some of these matches feel like it was added to the last minute. In the end, I think it was Axel Smash, one member of Demolition pin Akeem after Duggan hit Akeem with the 2x4. And also he's painting his face with the American flag. You know, he got so many gimmicks. He also gimmicked the 2x4. How many gimmicks he holds, Jim Duggan. And also he does the ho and USA chants. I understand why, because Akeem is kind of like kayfabe, African, and Andre's from France. I let it slide, but anyway, it was just a filler match, nothing special. That was match number 6. Match number 7, we got Hercules taking on Greg Valentine with Jimmy Hart in his corner. And you got Ronnie Garvin as the special guest ring announcer. So this is the rivalry between Ronnie Garvin and Greg Valentine, because Ronnie Garvin, who appeared in the WWF, I think it was late '88, he jumped ship from the NWA. He was a former NWA World Champion and jumped ship to the WWF. He feud with Greg Valentine. I think it was the start of '89. They end up having a retirement match. Garvin lost. He forced to retire. Then he becomes a referee. He got physical, got suspended. So in this match, well, before the start of this match, he didn't really cut a promo. He's basically talked shit towards, Greg Valentine. Said about like he's overweight. He's got 2 left feet. He doesn't know he's coming or going. You know, he calls Jimmy Hart the big mouth of the South. I kind of like that. This is way better than the actual match between Hernandez and Greg Valentine. The match was shit. In the end, Valentine basically pinned Hernandez after putting his feet on the ropes without the referee sawing it. And Garvin says, he's announced like Hercules the winner, but referee didn't saw that, and he won. And also, basically had Valentine cheap shot Ronnie Garvin. He beat down Hernandez, and then Garvin knocked out Greg Valentine. I don't know if Ronnie Garvin was a boxer. It was a type of boxing punch. He jabbed, Valentine in the jaw. It looks like he maybe broke his jaw in the process. But it was just nothing special in this match between Hernandez and Hercules and that. I say Hercules Hernandez, but Hercules and Greg Valentine. It was nothing special. It's just further the rivalry between Ronnie Garvin and Greg Valentine. They ended up fighting at Survivor Series that year in the Survivor Series match, and then they had the blow off at the Royal Rumble. The following year. I'm trying to say. Royal Rumble 1990. They had a I Quit match, and then Garvin ended up leaving the company at the end of 1990. I think he had one run in the WWF. I think he wrestled in different territories and indie promotions in the next couple of years. He retired in 2014. Not familiar with his work, but the match is just what it is. The promo is way better than the actual match. It's just basically Valentine cheat, foot on the ropes without referee sawing it, and then Garvin basically says, the winner by disqualification is Hernandez, but it wasn't a disqualification. Can you get disqualified if you put your feet on the ropes? Probably not. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to the next match. The next match, we got the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase Sr., not Jr., with Virgil in his corner, taking on Superfly Jimmy Snuka. This was Jimmy Snuka's first pay-per-view match for the WWF. Shocking, because he left the WWF after the first WrestleMania. He had runs in Japan and the AWA. But yeah, this was his first pay-per-view match because he missed a lot of years because the golden dawn of pay-per-views for the World Wrestling Federation. Anyway, the match was shit. Boring match as fuck. In the end, DiBiase won by a countout after Virgil distracts Jimmy Snuka. And then Snuka got his heat back, hit the Superfly splash onto Virgil. and that was it. Just Snuka's like second to final run in the company. It's basically the old guard putting over the young talent. A great example, he put over the Undertaker at WrestleMania in 1991. 2 years later, kicked off the legendary undefeated streak. He ended up becoming ECW champion in 1992. He's still going until he was semi-retired until his death in 2017. So that was match number 8. Match number 9, we got the final tag team match of the night. We got Macho Man Randy Savage, Zeus taking on Hulk Hogan, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Sensational Sherry was in Savage and Zeus's corner. Zeus is Tiny Lister. So the rivalry between Hogan and Savage started in '89 when Hogan accidentally eliminated Savage in that Royal Rumble match. Then Savage became jelly because Hulk Hogan and Miss Elizabeth, and then the Mega Powers exploded. Set up the championship match at WrestleMania between Hogan and Savage, and basically Savage kicked Elizabeth in the curbs. He ended up reunited again in WCW years later. Hogan defeats Savage to win his. How many times? He won six times. I'm guessing this is the 4th time he won. No. Second, because his previous one he lasted 4 years. Won it in 1984. He dropped the title to Andre the Giant at Main Event in 1988. So second title he won. And so the rivalry continued. Then in May of '89, Zeus debuted for the company. During the steel cage match between Hulk Hogan and Big Boss Man. So why they did that? I understand they tried to promote No Holds Barred. The movie flopped. I heard that the movie. I didn't see the movie. I saw bits and pieces of it. I saw Brian Zane's review of this film, but I never seen it in person. I don't know, but it looks. It was disappointing for the movie, but it basically brings Zeus to it's way better than what WCW did years later with having a David Arquette, promoting Ready to Rumble. And also winning the WCW World Title from DDP on an episode of Thunder. That was completely fucking stupid, but this was okay. It was just fine for what it is. You had what's his name? Tom Kilmer, I think that's his name. I haven't seen the movie. He was Zeus's manager, in the movie. But it's just what it is. Let's talk about the match. I'm losing a lot of brain cells, The match wasn't bad. It was okay for what it is, but Zeus fucking sucks in the ring. I'm sorry, he was the absolute shits. I'll say Tony, but Tiny Lister as Zeus, he's not a wrestler. He's an actor. I don't know, if you compare it to Mr. T, because Mr. T's performance in the first main event of WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania, he was good. He held up on his own. But with Zeus, Tiny Lister, I don't think he trained preparing for this match on the show. He just does the bear hug and this move. It's basically a jumping back attack. It's not a back attack. Not a backstabber, but like a back attack. You're basically clubbing your opponent's back. It's just like, wow. That is a mistake. I wish I wish he did train. Help him to prepare. I'm not saying he's not going to be great, but at least with Hogan, Beefcake, Savage kind of carry him to an okay match. But Zeus, when he's in the ring, nah, it's just it's one of the down part of this match, And also, Miss Elizabeth, was in Hogan and Beefcake's corner. They were not the Mega Maniacs yet. They become the Mega Maniacs in 1993. Preparing for the tag team title match between Money Inc. at WrestleMania 9. But anyway, in the end, Hogan got the victory, hit the leg drop onto Zeus for the win. Because the motive for Zeus is basically because Hogan defeats him at No Holds Barred movie. And in the end, you had the babyfaces attack Sensational Sherry. Elizabeth hit Sherry with the purse. Hogan atomic dropped her and cut her hair. The rival Zeus stick around in the WWF for the next couple of months. He appeared in the Survivor Series match. They had the No Holds Barred rematch in the steel cage. That was in the end of 1989. And then years later, Tiny Lister came back as Z Gangster in that bastardizing, shitty Doomsday Cage match at Uncensored 96. That's another pay-per-view review for another time. So, anyways, so my final rating for SummerSlam 1989, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. It's back and forth between 6 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10. This was a downgrade in the first SummerSlam. Wasn't a bad show. It was an okay, thumbs in the middle show for what it is. The only thing in the okay has to be Dusty Rhodes versus Honky Tonk Man and the main event between Hogan, Beefcake versus Savage and Zeus. Besides that, the bad was the bad, like Mr. Perfect versus the Red Rooster Terry Taylor. That 6-man tag team match between Demolition, Duggan versus Twin Towers and Andre the Giant, because Andre at this moment in time is immobile. You know, Snooker versus DiBiase, that was just shit. That was boring. And, you know, Hercules versus Greg Valentine is just furthering the rivalry between Garvin and Valentine. Besides that, I really like the good matches on the show. Like, and also, I'm gonna tell you right now, this show is memorable for Mean Gene Swed. It was during the interview between Rick Rude and Bobby Heenan. The SummerSlam sign fell off, and Mean Gene says, "Fuck it, who put this goddamn sign up?" And also, yeah, in the good, you had the opener match of the night between Heart Foundation and Brain Buster, the 6-man tag team match between the Rockers, Tito Santana versus Rougeos and Rick Martel. Warrior versus Rude. Zeus, I put him in the bad as well. He was just not that good. He was completely crap. So anyway, so No Holds Barred, the movie flopped in the box office, but 89 in WWF, they put up a decent show. So anyway, so that's my review of SummerSlam 1989. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. What's your thoughts on the show? Leave your thoughts in the, smash the like button, click the like, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube, be part of the Central Unit today. Next time, keeping this SummerSlam train going, let's go 2011. The year 2011, I covered Money in the Bank 2011 1 month ago. Let's do the aftermath. How long this summer of punk gonna last? So let's review SummerSlam 2011. The Money in the Bank rematch. John Cena, CM Punk for the undisputed WWE Championship, plus the return of a Click member and a cash-in. You have to wait until next time. Yeah, SummerSlam 2011. Stay tuned for next time. This is the Central Man Official signing out. Check you later.